T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome to the Play It By Ear podcast. The podcast where the topics may vary because, hey, we play it by ear. And now your hosts, Eric Fiskus, Brady Liming, and Todd Griffin.
I'm Kilroy. Kilroy
was there.
Kilroy was here. Was there. Was everywhere. All right. Episode 169 of the Play By Ear podcast. Welcome to my compatriots, Mr. Liming, Mr. Griffin. Hey. All right. Got Savannah's checked in. We have 4 other people in the room. If you'd like to check in, please do so, or mingle amongst yourselves out in the shadows. Doesn't matter. We're here to entertain. Super full moon. In life, great. In the super full moon. What, a blue moon or whatever. I have a different name for all these moons every month.
There's the strawberry moon. There's the harvest moon. There's the killing moon. There's the blue moon. There's
the neon moon.
Yes.
Didn't Prince have a song under the strawberry moon?
Under the cherry moon.
Yeah.
Wrong fruit.
Come on, Fiskus, get your fruit together. Get your fruit together.
I just don't know my Prince. Whatever he was called. He was called that for a while.
You're lacking in your scarlet fruit knowledge.
I am. Correct.
I feel a topic coming on. Song with fruit in the title.
Fruit. Hey, we have 9 people in the room now, so again, chime in if you like. Check in. Tell us you're here or don't. Whichever way. All right. If you've never been here before, if any of you 9 have not, or anyone who might be watching later, we will have 2 topics tonight. Todd will have one, Brady will have the other. We will talk about said topics for a period of time, and then we'll move on and plunder and pillage elsewhere. So that's kind of what we do. So, gentlemen, anything else for the good of the order here?
Yeah, just one announcement while we're thinking. So this 7 o'clock on Wednesdays is going to be kind of our jam for the foreseeable future.
All righty. The historian is here.
And he nailed it.
He did. He knew that. I didn't. So
We're the Knights that say meh. For all you Monty Python fans out there.
Correct.
My caption doesn't carry over to the iPad. I can't figure that out.
Bill Gates machines don't support captions.
Okay,
or
what a mess. You mentioned something right before we got on that maybe a setting had changed. I know something's been odd. The Chromebook will work in all other ways until I log on to StreamYard and we start going. I don't know.
Yeah, it is odd. Technology's great when it works. So, historian, you get Brady's reference. Do you get mine? Actually, it has 2 references. Mine does. Because depending on which way you want to go with it. But I'll let you ponder on that. Todd, I believe we'll have you go first.
Hey. All right. It's been a minute since we've done a bracket. By a minute, I mean probably 3 or 4 episodes ago. I can't remember the last bracket we did. I think we did I want to say
Was it Road Trip?
Torian probably knows.
But
I have a bracket today. And I know we've talked a lot about sitcoms. We've had various topics that were sitcom-based or television-based. But I don't think we've done a massive TV sitcom bracket. And
The
so
bracket that ends all brackets.
I thought it would be fun. So there are 4 regions in this bracket, 16 teams or shows competing in each region. So without further ado, now my pen broke. I'm moving.
Get your quill and stylus out.
Gosh.
or your hammer and chisel, Fred Flintstone.
Oh. So, by all means, anybody listening, make sure you chime in and vote on this. It makes it much more exciting than just the 3 of us voting. There are, as I look through here, I haven't looked through every show, but there are a few that I have never watched. So maybe, we can get some commentary from others to help us with these. But right off the bat, we have a number 1 seed versus 16 seed. Number 1, this is the A region, by the way. Nothing fancy, just A, B, C, and D regions. Friends, number 1 seed, versus number 16 seed, Modern Family.
Oh. Gonna come with a hot take here. I know Friends is beloved by a whole generation, and I know I probably should say Friends, but I loved Modern Family. It made me belly laugh frequently. So I'm probably gonna go against the grain. If you've never seen the Modern Family episode where former Al Bundy accidentally in the locker room touches gluteus maximi with the guy behind him, and they coined the term moon landing. I rolled on the floor for 15 minutes crying. And I'm also jaded on this because I kind of got tired of Friends. That's not really fair, but I wasn't as amused by it. There was definitely a point where I found Friends less funny, and Modern Family was solid all the way through till its end. So I'm gonna go Modern Family.
Zach.
That's my phone ringing. Not ringing, it's vibrating. But anyway. I can't go ballistic over seeding yet because I don't know what all is in this bracket.
Right.
I may go ballistic over seeding at some different point in time. Modern Family seems to be a high-level show to be a 16 seed, but again, I don't know what else the bracket holds. So,
I will tell you, there are some heavy hitters in this region.
Yeah. I've watched Modern Family. I have not. Honestly, my schedule kind of determines that I can't get into shows week after week. Back in the day there, Friends, you had to basically be there.
Yeah.
On a Thursday night. So Modern Family is a little different in that. I guess I could go back on Netflix or Hulu or whatever and see these things, but I don't know. I will always go back to my favorite Chandler Bing line from Friends. Brady knows what it is. Todd probably knows what it is too. And I forget who said, "Guess what?" And Chandler goes, "The fifth dentist cave. Now they all recommend Trident." That's my kind of humor.
That is your kind of humor.
That's outstanding. Modern Family is more straightforward with the humor, so I will go with Friends just because I kind of go along with that sort of humor maybe a little bit more.
I remember another Friends line that you liked. Somebody's like, "Who?" And Chandler said something like, "Dee, the obnoxious sister from Good Times."
No, what's happening? Not Good Times.
That's it.
Yeah, see, I chuckled again, and I didn't even know what you were going to say.
I have always been a believer that Friends is overrated. It's not that I disliked the show; I liked it. I wasn't a regular watcher like Eric mentioned. I wasn't a there every week type watcher, but I feel like I've seen every episode. just throughout the years, and I was kind of on again, off again with it. But I do believe it was overrated. Now, I'll say this in the most respectful and non-creepy way. A big reason Friends was attractive people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
At that age, that might have been one of the reasons why I was drawn to the show. But I'm going Modern Family just because I think it's funnier. Friends to me always seemed like, it was borderline a dramedy to me.
Yeah, fair. Now, you can go beyond and say, how do people that have those jobs afford to live in New York City the way they do? I mean, that's a whole different piece. I guess you just suspend disbelief on that. But
Yeah. I mean, Jerry Seinfeld was a working stand-up comedian, and his apartment looked like a dump.
yeah,
I know.
right.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going Modern Family. The upset 16 seed over the 1 seed. Is anybody else voting? I can't see that.
Savannah voted. Anyone else want to vote? And honestly, I voted for Friends, but I will not raise a ruckus if Modern Family wins. It's.
Can I throw out one more Modern Family thing just real fast? My another favorite moment was when Gloria, the attractive, wife of Al Bundy. I'm gonna always say that, just makes it easier. But when he was talking about her accent, and she said, "It's not that bad," and he said, "Honey, you remember the Christmas party where she was ordering baby CHEES? She was ordering a dozen baby cheeses, and it came. They thought she said a dozen baby Jesus, and there was these little cupcake things with little plastic babies in it."
That's funny.
Yeah. All right. So it looks like Modern Family could be moving on, which is gonna. I gotta rattle the cage of people out there. We're being awful quiet out there. I thought this would.
How many's in the room?
Well, it keeps fluctuating. There's 6 now. There's been upwards of 10, but I don't know. But Savannah's the only vote, so I guess if you want to go on.
Even the historian hasn't voted?
The historian has not voted.
Well, we need to make a happy birthday to the companion of the historian. He's celebrating a birthday, but he said after they get their takeout, they're going to be watching.
Nice.
All right, going once. Are we going once?
Once.
Twice.
3 times a day.
Thrice.
Modern Family it is.
Modern Family. Wow, an upset right off the bat.
That was a huge upset.
Huge.
All right. 8-9 matchup. Always difficult. 8-9s are. 8, That 70s Show. 9, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Now this, ooh.
Pardon me, gentlemen. I have to duck out here for a moment.
Okay. We're going, go ahead. So, here's what I am going to say about that. Curb Your Enthusiasm is very nichey. And I watched it, on DVD collections I would rent back in the day. And it was really, really funny. But it was one of those that, now that I look back, maybe it wasn't as funny as I remember, but it provided me some great moments. Probably when I was watching them both at the prime, I liked Curb Your Enthusiasm better, but I'm going to kind of lean toward That 70s Show. I think it's a little bit more palatable no matter what mood I'm in.
Yeah.
So, but Curb Your Enthusiasm is definitely nichey. Not everybody's going to think it's funny. In fact, it's kind of twisted and dark sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So, but That 70s Show is always good for a good chuckle. So between those two, I think I'm going to lean that one.
Yeah. So I have no problem with dark humor. I don't know. So who are the people? Is Gary Shandling, was he on Curb Your Enthusiasm? Who's who I'm thinking of?
I think he made a couple appearances. The main guy on Curb Your Enthusiasm is Larry David,
Larry
the
David.
writer of Seinfeld,
Yeah.
and his on-screen wife is actually the wife of Robert Kennedy Jr., um,
Really?
who's a presidential candidate,
Wow.
and yeah. So yeah, it. I'm trying to think of who else was on that, but once again, like I said, it's niche. Some of them didn't do much outside of that, but
I just remember not. I never was a fan of Larry David. That 70. So I'm gonna. There are certain shows where one character makes the show. I've read lots of shows that way, but
yeah,
Red from that 70s show to me is the reason why I have to vote that 70s
yeah.
show. Just a funny guy, funny character.
Yeah.
I'm going that 70s show.
Yeah. And I would be lying if I didn't say that Mila Kunis was easy on the eyes, and I kind of like,
Well,
she
they
was
all
a good
were.
character. Yeah. Oops.
Chris, I did see that. I watched that. It was a documentary, I believe, wasn't it, Chris? Where for those of you listening, Chris says, have you guys ever heard the story of how an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm saved a guy that was getting accused of murder from going to prison? I did see that documentary. Very fascinating.
Huh.
Yeah. So a guy got accused of murder, and he happened to be at a Yankees game. I guess it was Yankees.
Yeah.
The night they were filming an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and he was on film. He was on the video. He was on film or whatever, and so they were able to
Put him at the
game.
Yeah.
So
That's amazing.
I don't know what the name of the documentary is, but I do know there's a documentary out there somewhere streaming. It's a shorter documentary, so it's not you have to invest like 13 parts in and anything like that, but it's very cool.
So quick question about that. Was he what do you call it? Was he exonerated before the verdict came in, or was it one of those things he discovered afterwards and then sprung him?
Chris probably knows better than I do. I can't remember exactly. I think it was before. I think it was during the trial, but I might be wrong. I think it was during the trial. Yeah, he was acquitted. Yeah, so, but very cool nonetheless.
In like a couple of my favorite Curb Your Enthusiasm scenes, I can't discuss because this is a TV 14 show.
Yeah.
But they were just ridiculous scenarios, but I still got to go that 70s show.
Yeah. So the Browns voted for that 70s show. So there's 2 votes, right, Savannah? Two Brown votes. And then, so that would be 4, that 70s show. So are we going to go ahead and call it?
We'll call it. Thank you for joining us, Zeman.
Without Eric, we'll call it. Because even if he voted to Curb Your Enthusiasm.
There's one Curb. And let me be clear. I like Curb, but I can watch 70s show about any time.
Yeah. No, I've never watched what's the spinoff of that 70s show?
That 80s show?
Is it called that 80s show? Or
I don't think
it's called that.
No.
I don't think it's called
that. It's kind of being goofy, but I legit don't know.
Is it that 90s show? What? I don't know. There is a.
I don't. There is a, yeah.
All right. Moving on. 5 seed versus 12 seed. 5 seed, Taxi.
Mm-hmm.
Which is right up there with MASH for me.
Taxi.
And Sanford and Son.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, first off, Sanford and Son is going to win any matchup based on the theme song. So I had to wait for Eric to get back, and I'll have to gauge his reaction. Sanford and Son was pretty funny, and I watched it when I was little, and there was probably a lot that went over my head. But Taxi, I never watched. Anytime I did, it bored me. I didn't get it. Yes, it gave us Andy Kaufman and Danny DeVito and so many more, but I just didn't like it as a Ute.
Yeah. Brady, you might want to check your text.
Okay.
So, the thing about this bracket is where it makes me want. It says Sanford and Sons. Now, it was never Sanford and Sons, right? Plural.
No, just Sanford and Son.
Sanford and Son. So that's a typo. So I hate Taxi. I never liked Taxi. Again, I put it in the MASH realm for me. I put it in that same category. I was bored by it. It was one of those shows where and to be honest with you, Brady, it was probably a matter of me being too young.
Yeah. Well, I was young too, man.
Yeah. I was
So if I was too young, you would have been even too younger.
Yeah. And honestly, I was probably too young for Sanford and Son, but I did return to Sanford and Son later, watching reruns and things like that. I am voting. I'm voting Sanford and Son.
Okay. I go along with you. And so I've just got to do it. The best thing about Sanford Son is when you hear the and when you heard that, it was just great.
Yeah. That show, the theme song alone would probably be enough for me to vote for it. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of those to where, again, I go to MASH, the theme song alone would probably be enough for me to vote it down, just because gut-wrenching sadness of that when that show. And I've seen so many memes here recently about how kind of like people when kids knew it was time to go to bed, it was when you heard the MASH theme song come on. And again, Taxi just wasn't fun. Brady on the chest chopper.
The chest chopper.
All right, so I'm going Sanford. You're going Sanford. Do we have any other votes?
Chris has Sanford and Son.
And Savannah says Taxi. So Savannah, is that 2 Taxi votes or 1?
We're waiting here.
Brady, can you pull your comments? Do you have your comments up?
I do have my comments up.
Okay. Well, since I'm using this iPad, like when I put the comments up, it goes over top of the camera. So if you can,
I got you. I got you back. So we've got Savannah for Taxi. We've got Chris for Sanford and Son. Me and you are going Sanford and Son.
That's 3-1.
It is 3-1. So I think that's safe to say.
Do we call it?
I think it's safe to. Oh, there's Samantha. She is chiming in Sanford and Son also.
All right. Hey, Samantha. So I think Sanford and Son is taking it.
Yes. Now there was a character like Red Fox. I didn't know it until I was much older that he was a stand-up comedian known for his profane, filthy stand-up. And I was at my uncle's house one time and he had a Red Fox record album. I was like, oh, it's Sanford. I put it on. And about 2 minutes into it, I'm sitting there going, when I was like 8 years old.
So is record album kind of like PT Time or OJ Juice? It wouldn't be exactly because those are, but is it redundant to say record?
It is pretty redundant. A lot of people say record even when they're talking about it via regardless of the format. They say we made a record. So I should have just said LP record.
Yeah.
If I really wanted to kick it old school.
All right, let's move on. The 4 versus 13 matchup. Always an interesting matchup in tournaments. 4, Mary Tyler Moore versus 13, Welcome Back Kotter.
Okay. Mary Tyler Moore is the way more respected and groundbreaking of the shows historically. As a kid, it was in syndication. It would come on, and whenever it came on, I would turn it to something else.
Yeah.
The Welcome Back, Cotter, I thought was fun. I mean, even though I really didn't get it, there was funny gags. Horseshack and his and John Travolta. My sister had a Welcome Back, Cotter lunchbox.
Nice.
I wish she still had that.
Yeah.
So
I got to be honest. These are both shows that I'm obviously familiar with, but I probably watched more episodes of Welcome Back, Cotter, but it was another one that kind of just kind of bored me at the time I was trying to watch it.
Yeah.
But from my memories of the two shows, which again would have been, I don't know. I mean, I would have probably been too young to. You mentioned getting the. I probably would have been too young, but I'm going to go Welcome Back, Cotter.
Absolutely, me too.
Yeah.
I mean, not even. So we've got Browns, 2 Browns with the Welcome Back, Cotter, and us 2. That makes it 4. So somebody's Cotter, not Potter. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading on the fly here. I see what we did there. So a couple for. I think it's right now 4-0.
I think so too. They were getting Harry Potter and Welcome Back, Cotter mixed up.
Yes.
See a
Welcome
little
Back,
mesh up there.
Potter.
Welcome Back, Potter.
Welcome back.
Harry Cotter. That almost sounds inappropriate.
Cotter did have a large fro. He was a Harry Cotter.
So are we confident in going with Welcome Back, Cotter?
We definitely are.
Okay. All right, in the Cotter. All right. 6 seed versus 11 seed. This is an interesting matchup.
Okay.
6 seed Happy Days versus 11 seed Community.
I
Tough.
love Community, but I will say this: when it comes down to a tiebreaker of 2 excellent shows, there's a question you got to ask: which one had the board game that you played at recess? And that was Happy Days.
Well, I mean, Happy Days is a class. I mean, like Fonzie's jacket's in the Smithsonian, for goodness sakes. You know what I mean? Like, Community had Chevy Chase,
Joel McHale.
What's it? But what I'm getting at is, Chevy Chase would be the classic part of Community.
Right.
And I've actually heard he was kind of a jerk on that.
It was difficult to work with.
Yeah.
Allison
you got to go
Brie.
Happy Days.
You got to go Happy Days.
You got to go Chachi. You got to go Fonz. You got to go Ralph Mouth. You got to go
even Potsy.
Joni. Just Arnold's. There's just too many classic. You think of Buddy Holly, the Weezer. It's an entire. The whole video is
Happy Days tie-in. Yep.
Happy Day. Yeah, it's. I'm going Happy Days.
Yes, and we wouldn't have the famous term when a TV show, the moment where it just starts sucking and is not as good, comes from the moment that Happy Days lost its luster when Fonzie tried to jump the shark with a motorcycle.
Yep.
And it was never the same afterwards. So without Happy Days, we would not have the term jump the shark.
Jump the shark. Yeah, that's true. When you look at pop culture and you look at, yeah. I do remember being upset when I found out that Fonzie's jacket was not black, it was brown.
Oh, yeah. At the Smithsonian?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brown. Who knew it?
Brown.
I thought it was black.
And I need to go back and watch some episodes. I'm sure it would stand out to me now as brown, but everybody, the black leather jacket was the cool thing, not the brown leather jacket.
Yeah.
And I can't help but to now. Henry Winkler and we don't see eye to eye politically. I've never tried to fight him on Twitter like I have.
He's no Richard Marx.
He's no Richard Marx, and but I have had conversations with Chachi on Twitter, including I actually purchased some pasta based on his recommendation. So that's my.
Whoa! What?
Yeah. So I follow Scott Baio on Twitter. By the way, people are. If you want to see the ugliness of people, go watch how people treat Scott Baio. I mean, yes, he was accused of some pretty bad things, but he's cleared his name. He's proved the best he can possibly prove that, maybe there was I'm trying not to, I don't want to get canceled. But if you know the story, he was accused of some things by another actress who has since been kind of proved to be lying and things like that. But people just, he just tries to be on Twitter, living his life, raising a teenage daughter who's a really good golfer, and he's and people are just terrible to him. Mm-hmm. So I follow him on Twitter, and he posted one time a picture of some pasta that they were having, and I thought it was really cool. Like it was like a bunch of different colors. It was like, it almost looked like that. It looked similar to the ribbon candy and stuff you used to see. Like
yeah.
It kind of looked like that, and I was fascinated. So I asked him like where he got it, and he sent me he posted the link to the website that I could order it from, and I ordered a couple bags of this pasta, and it's like multicolored pasta. It's pretty cool. I don't know. Anyway, I forget where I was going with this.
Happy Days
Henry
better.
Winkler. I'm not a fan of Henry Winkler's politics. I'm not a fan of that kind of thing. I saw a video just the other day of him, and he was coming out of I don't know if it was like a post office or something, and like there was a guy kind of in his way, and Henry Winkler kind of thought he could just kind of push the guy around, walk past him, and the guy didn't budge, and Henry Winkler kind of pulled the victim like, what, all of a sudden made this guy into some jerk, when what it actually looked to me like was Henry Winkler thought the guy should get out of his way just because he was Henry Winkler. So anyway, I'm not a big fan of Henry Winkler outside of TV, but you can't beat the Fonz. I mean, to me, Community just doesn't hold a.
Even though Chuck disappeared, it was never mentioned again on Happy Days. But still, it's a good show, great show.
Are we going Happy? Did Happy win?
I am happy.
Did it win?
Yes. I don't even see anybody who voted for. Oh, what happened, Todd?
Nothing. I almost closed. Am I back?
Yeah, you're here. You never left.
Okay. John Barney did a fantastic job emceeing the Tri-County Battle of the Bands at Hillsborough a couple weeks back,
where my former and Todd's current band became the reigning champions of the Battle of the Bands.
Back-to-back champions. A lot of fun. Next up, we have Brady. I know this is gonna be tough, man. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh man,
this is the toughest matchup so far. 3 seed, Parks and Recreation.
Ooh,
great show. Versus 14, South Park.
Oh, I as good and great as a show as Parks and Recreation is, South Park is one of my all-time favorite shows of anything. So I'm the person probably not to get a real objective opinion on this because I'm a huge South Park fan. And I'm going to go South Park all day.
Anybody else voted yet? Try to take the chat on.
Let's see. We've got John on there. So, South Park, it does not matter when I watch it, will always make me laugh. There are some, because of Butters.
We've got a lot of votes rolling in already for South Park, which is good to see. We talk about, we make jokes often about being canceled. South Park is cancelable. Is that the word I'm looking for? You can't cancel those guys because those guys are, What would you say, Brady? Would you say that they are as close to in the middle as you can get with who? No one's safe with the South Park.
No
guys.
one's safe. They'll make fun and rip everybody.
Yeah. What was the show, Brady? You would know this better than me. Back during the Bush Gore election, it was something where did they have a show planned or ready for whoever won?
They did.
Or whoever lost, maybe, whatever it was. I think the story goes, and I'm talking about the creators of South Park.
Yeah.
Trey Parker and Matt Stone, and it ended up being called not That's My Bush. Or
That's My
like
Bush.
that.
Yeah.
That's My Bush. And but I think the story went that they had it ready for whoever.
They
won.
did.
So again,
They had it ready to roll.
But I'm going South Park. It looks like South Park is running away with it. Yeah. John Barney says South Park. That's Cartman licking the carpet.
Oh my gosh.
Samantha, Parks and Rec. It's not a bad choice, Samantha. It's a great show. And you know, it's there may be something to the maturity level of South Park versus Parks and Rec. But I think I'm going to go ahead and crown South Park as the winner of this matchup.
All right. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I couldn't even make a top 10 South Park moments. That would be a topic in itself. Sorry, give us a little bit of patience and grace here.
All right. Are we ready for the next matchup?
Yeah.
So, number 7, Martin.
Not in.
Martin, I love Martin.
Yeah, I do.
Versus the Bob Newhart Show.
Does it say which one? And I'm sorry.
It just says the Bob Newhart Show.
I think the Bob Newhart Show would have been the 70s version. And if that is the case, the Bob Newhart Show is much more impactful in the history of sitcoms and solid writing. But it was a little bit old for my time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even the original. And I think I enjoyed Martin much more. And Martin, if I remember correctly, was one of those first few sitcoms made for not ABC, CBS, or NBC.
Yeah. Was it 19? Was it
Was it on Fox or was it on the WB?
Oh, I don't know. Fly in here. You're right though. I can't remember what it was, but it was something other than the 3 big ones.
Yeah.
Now when you asked which Bob, so the other show Bob Newhart, but wasn't the other show just called Newhart?
I think it was just called Newhart. That was the one that was in the 80s and the 90s where he owned the hotel.
Yeah.
And that was funny because that had Larry and his brother Daryl and his other brother Daryl, and classic characters. And
Yes.
But if it would have been that one, I might have went. I would have probably went with that one. But since it's the original, as groundbreaking as it was, I still like Martin better.
Yeah, I'm going Martin. Anybody else voting?
I'm looking at the let's see. We've got the Browns voting for 2. They've got 2 Martins. We have E. Swope. Oh, hello, sir. I got us one, Mr. Elliot Swope. I kind of like corralled him and nudged him into watching us live, and there he is, and he is voting for, welcome aboard, sir. He is voting for Bob Newhart. The historian is voting Newhart.
Oh,
John Barney is voting Martin. Celia is voting Martin. And Samantha, the birthday girl, is voting for Martin. So I think Martin takes it by a nudge.
I think so.
But that was a solid matchup.
Yeah,
Very solid matchup.
probably the most. See, we're waking up a little. People are voting
Nuanced.
now. Yep. So, to finish off this region, or the first round of this region, Andy Griffith. This, to me, even though South Park was a pretty easy win in my mind. I thought South Park and Parks and Rec were a difficult matchup. To me,
Yeah.
this is probably the second most difficult matchup, if not the first most difficult matchup. Andy Griffith versus Night Court.
Oh. Okay, I'm taking a deep breath because I'm trying to really gauge this. I mean, I know this isn't really playing the rules correctly, but Andy Griffith is such an institution, and I've probably watched way more episodes over the years of Andy Griffin, but I really like me some Night Court.
Yeah.
I was older, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I think I have to vote Andy Griffith. It just doesn't feel right to vote against him.
We're going back to the Happy Days thing here, and I picked Happy Days over Community because I felt Happy Days was the more classic.
Yeah.
This one, Andy Griffith, is the more classic, but Night Court to me is the better show. I mean, look at the characters. I mean, you had Bull, you had Roz, you had Dan.
You had Marky Post.
I had a huge crush on Marky Post.
Yeah.
Who else? Well, Harry.
Harry, yeah.
There was somebody else, I thought. Well, there was at one time was before Roz, like the old lady that was friends with Bull?
Yes.
I can't think of what her name was. Celia, if you're listening, you probably know her name. I'm talking about the old gray-haired lady, real short lady. Well, everybody
Yes.
Bull. Was Bull really, really tall, or is one of those deals where he was tall, but not like freakishly tall, but just he looked that way compared to the other Mikas?
I think he was about 6'5" or 6'6"
Really?
in real life. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's do we have any votes? I'll jump on the comments. Celia says Night Court. Samantha says Andy Griffith. Chris says Night Court. Swope.
That's Elliot. He says Andy, but I think he's kind of like, I think he's torn. He likes both, but he's going to go with Andy. I'm kind of reading the tea leaves.
Okay. What's up, Jackie? I'm sure that's Chris. What's up, Chris? Chris Furnish. We are indeed Nimrods.
I like that word, Nimrod.
Savannah, the Miller household says ×2.
Yep.
Or the Brown. Yep. Sorry, I'm got that confused there. So I think this is a tough one, Brady. We'll have to add them up.
1, 2.
But you count the Andys. I'll count the Night Courts, Brady.
Okay, I'll count the Andys. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, we have 4 Night Courts counting us. We need a tiebreaker.
Let me look right. Oh no. I believe. Sorry, I keep on going. Samantha voted Andy, but then Celia voted Night Court, so we got a 5-5 tie. Let me go beyond Celia. So 1.
Well, did you count 2 for Savannah?
I did.
Okay.
And
Chris,
then,
while you're on here, if you're still on here, the matchup in this is Andy Griffith versus Night Court. Andy Griffith versus Night Court.
oh man, this is one of the this is one of the tougher ones on me because I know what I should vote for, but that's not what my heart says. But I still gotta go Andy Griffin.
Oh, you did vote Andy Griffith. I thought you
I
already
did vote Andy.
I thought you voted Night Court.
I kind of changed. I might have flip flopped. I
So
think
Chris
I'm going
says
Andy.
Selma Diamond, which I believe is the old lady that we were talking about's name in real life, or was that her character name? Selma Diamond. We might have to get out the old internet here.
Oh, here we go. Jackie, Chris Furnish say Andy Griffith all the way.
So Selma Diamond, interestingly enough, her name in the show was Selma Hacker.
Ah,
and this conversation, this side conversation will be much better with Eric because I think this is right up his alley. What is it about certain TV shows where the actors or the actors or actresses get to play a character with their own name?
Yeah,
You ever notice that? It happens some.
it happens some. Like, what was it? Judge? Was it his name Harry?
No. Well,
Now, like I said, I'm all flummoxed and beaddled.
it was yeah, Harry Anderson.
And his character's name was
Harry, right?
yeah. So we got a Selma and a Harry. They
No, he
just
was
kept
Harry
it.
Stone.
Judge
Harry-
Stone, that's it.
He was Harry Stone. He was Harry Stone in the show. So again, so there they had two characters because Selma was before Roz. She was in the first two seasons of Night Court.
And she passed away unexpectedly.
Yeah. So I did not know this as I'm looking through. So Harry T. Stone was a character created by comedy writer Reinhold Weege. I don't know if it's how you say his name or not, Weege or Ouija or Weege. Interesting. You don't think about characters in shows being created by people. You know, you typically think of writers for the show. You don't think of someone just creating a character. By the way, did we have a winner?
I believe. Oh, I think the winner was Andy Griffith by a nudge. And Elliot asked the question, "Have you seen the new Night Court?"
I haven't, Elliot. Isn't Dan on that? Isn't John Larroquette
He is.
on that?
It's John Larroquette, and I don't know who else is on it. Richard Mole, who played Bull, passed away, and I don't think isn't.
Roz
I
passed
think
away, I believe.
yeah.
Marquis Post passed away.
Yes.
I think John Larroquette might be the only one.
I think you're right.
I forgot what's his name. Was it Sam?
Yes. While Todd's looking that up, Chris, the historian says he once met Harry Anderson at a Seattle market, and he was a magician there signing autographs at a magic shop. How cool is that?
Not Sam, Mac.
Yes.
Yeah. So Mac was Charles P. Robinson. Unfortunately, he passed away about 3 years ago. Mac Robinson. He was the clerk of the court. He was a Vietnam veteran. I did not know that. So yeah, I think John Larroquette is the only surviving
member.
Night Court. Little fun fact about John Larroquette.
And here comes Elliot with the factoid.
Elliot says Roz is done, so Roz must still be living.
So,
we love it when you guys teach us things, learn us things.
Yes, thank you very much. Harry's daughter is the judge.
Really?
In the new one, yeah. So
Harriet?
Roz, is that her name? Sweet Harriet. Yes. Hard-hearted harbinger of haggis. So love ing. So trust ing. So. Oh gosh, are we slipping?
I think. Because one of them says
Ed. Yeah.
Anyway. Did Andy Griffith win this?
I believe it did.
You know, Eric was talking about the
Maxwell. Sorry, had to do it.
Andy Griffith was a 2 seed and Night Court was a 15 seed. I think 15 is a little high for Night Court. Or a little low, or whatever you want.
Yeah. That's a little bit farther down the pike. I would rank Night Court above a couple of the higher seeds personally.
I definitely would. All right, let's move on to the B region. We have a classic 1/16 matchup here. Number 1 Seinfeld versus a very strong 16 Alf.
Alf. As much as I love Alf, Seinfeld is one of my favorites. I can still watch Seinfeld reruns to this day, and it makes me laugh. What I wonder though, this is kind of a funny thought that because my mom was watching an episode of Seinfeld, I got to her house before my daughter was dropped off the bus, and we were watching a Seinfeld rerun, and Randall came in and she said, "Oh man, this is old. Look at their clothes." And I wonder, like, we looked back at like Leave It to Beaver and Mr. Ed and Happy, like how they were dressed older, and now it's happening to us.
That is true. Yeah.
So, but
I gotta be honest, man, and this is probably gonna get me a lot of hate.
I feel this coming.
Well, real quick, couple comments. John's mentioning Harry on Cheers, Harry the Hat. I don't know if I remember Harry the Hat on Cheers.
That's not ringing a bell.
You know, John, I haven't looked ahead, but I can't imagine Cheers won't be on this.
Oh, it's gonna be in there
somewhere. I put Seinfeld in the Friends category. To me, it was always overrated. And it for a different reason. Friends to me just wasn't overly funny. Seinfeld to me, it just was not like. First off, I am not a Jerry Seinfeld fan. He was the least funny on his own show, which was probably purposefully done. I mean, but yeah, I'm going Alf here. Alf holds a special place in my heart. I had an Alf doll. Don't judge me.
This was last week.
I had a crush on the sister in Alf.
Oh.
I had no crushes on Seinfeld characters.
One of our earliest play it by earisms. Todd, how many elves did you have? The plural for Alf is elves. How many elves did you Oh, and here's a comment. Chris said, if only there was an episode of Seinfeld where Kramer befriends Alf, it would be an easier choice.
That's true. You know, and also I think this would be an interesting bracket if you were to find certain episodes from shows.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love like the Keith Hernandez episode of Seinfeld. That's my favorite Seinfeld episode.
Yeah.
But I liked Alf, and I don't even want to say that I thought Alf was funnier than Seinfeld. I just liked it. I liked the dad. I don't know. I liked Alf. I like the fact that he was always trying to catch the cat and eat it. I just think that's hilarious.
Yeah, it was hilarious. And I liked the fact that the Alf's name was Gordon.
Yes.
And I don't know why that's funny, but it is.
So what does ALF stand for? Like alien life form?
Alien life form.
Okay.
But
what do we got?
We got Seinfeld. The Brown household is split between one Alf and one Seinfeld. I think John and Todd are the only Alves in the house. I had to work that in there. I gotta say it. We've got our birthday girl, Samantha. Samantha, how on earth? Like, we are so flattered that a lovely person such as yourself and Savannah, and all you ladies out there, are listening to our brand of shenanigans. We were so afraid when we started this podcast it was going to be a bunch of dork guys like ourselves, and our demographics have always. We really appreciate you, all you ladies, listening to us.
Yeah, that's true. I even think that with my own wife, because I've mentioned before how she doesn't miss an episode, and she listens to them while she's getting ready for work, and she listens to them doing various things around the house, and she'll tell you I make her turn it off if I'm nearby. I can't stand to listen. I don't like hearing myself. First off, it's nothing against Brady and Eric. I just I'm kind of a one and done. Like whatever happened during the episode, that was it, and I don't look back very often unless we are doing it for a reason. But yeah, thank you very much to our better half of audience members.
Yes.
For listening. Samantha says she's a dork too. So when Chris says Alf. Celia says Alf. We might have a match on it.
Okay. I know if my mother was listening, she would vote Seinfeld because it's still one of her favorite shows, which my mom has a wonderful sense of humor, but it still amazes me how funny she finds that show. So I'm counting. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Alf?
Those are Seinfelds.
Okay.
And then Celia and Todd, Alf.
Did you get the brown split?
I got the brown split. I think it's a 4. Did the historian end up going for Seinfeld or Alf?
I don't think Chris voted. All right, so I'll count the Alves. I'm Alf. Celia's Alf. Chris is Alf. There's 3. 1 Alf in the Brown family. There's 4. So is that what you think?
We've got 4 Seinfelds.
Oh my goodness. Our historian might be the deciding vote.
He might be. While we're waiting for him to chime. Oh, there he goes. Thank you, Chris. My favorite Seinfeld episode might have been the one where they go to the beach house and the baby is really ugly. They're visiting somebody who just had a baby.
Yes.
And then the doctor tells Elaine that she's breathtaking, but then he says the baby is breathtaking, so she doesn't know if he's insulting her or liking her. I know that sounds really lame, but
that's a good episode.
That's the shrinkage episode too.
Yes, it is. Yeah. 2 birds with 1 stone there. I do have to chime in here, Celia. I can't believe that you've never watched an episode of Seinfeld.
Not one.
That is like Eric never watching Star Wars, or me never watching Jerry Maguire,
or me never watching never watching an episode of Game of Thrones,
or Celia never watching An Officer and a Gentleman. Classic movie. I'm going to put Seinfeld in, but I'm proud of Alf.
Yes, that Alf gave a valiant effort, and all you Alves in the house, hold your snouts up high.
Throw your snouts in the air and wave them like you just don't care. Yeah, old Alf held his own. Ha! Let's see. Did I miss a comment?
You're still there.
Okay. So I'll be honest, this next show I've never heard of.
Okay.
This is the first one I just don't know. 8-9 seed, 8 versus 9. 8, The Good Place. The Good Place. Versus Full House.
Okay, I'm going to look up The Good Place and see if I could even get a picture. I'm not sure who's in it or what.
Yeah,
Oh, it's Ted Danson.
Not a big Ted Danson fan.
No. Okay. It's relatively new. I guess it is.
They're in heaven, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
I do remember this coming out, and the girl, what's her name's in it? She was married to Dax Shepard.
Oh, Kristen Bell.
Kristen Bell is in it.
Oh, Veronica Mars.
I like Kristen Bell. I'm not a Theodore Danson fan.
That is awesome. I don't know why that's funny, but it is.
It wasn't that funny, but it's hilarious. I don't know why.
Oh,
I think because that was a stone had been left unturned. We've never called Ted Danson Theodore Danson.
it's one of those things like, why is Theodore, the reason Theodore Danson's funny is the same reason the Flintstones is funny.
Exactly.
It's inexplicable.
I'm going Full House. I'm a sucker for Full House. I like Full House. I know there's a lot of people that the cheese is just a little too thick on Full House.
So let's see. So let me see. Elliot says that Ted Danson plays the devil. Chris is voting The Good Place. It looks like Samantha's voting The Good Place. So Chris and Samantha, is this something I need to check out? You know our sense of humor relatively well. Is this something we need to catch an episode of?
I got to read back to these comments. So when Elliot says Ted Danson is the devil, does he mean that Ted Danson plays the devil, or is he saying that Ted Danson is the devil?
Ted Danson is the devil with his wee beady eyes.
Yeah.
So I think he plays the devil. It would be my guess. Yes,
Okay.
yes, he is.
Okay.
He's the
Thanks,
devil.
Looking through the comments, it looks like we seem to be missing something, Brady, with The Good Place.
Yep, and they say we absolutely have to watch it.
Yeah, Celia says, "What the fork? The Good Place." I didn't know you watched the Good Place, babe. She watches so many shows that I don't watch them.
Yeah.
With her. So The Good Place is running away with this, I believe. Chris says Full House. Savannah, are you saying is the Brown household in agreement that Full House, or is that one vote Full House?
Not
Okay, apparently what the fork is something from the show. Wow, I feel like a newborn baby here. I'm gonna count these up. So we have Elliot. Well, it'd be easier to count the Full Houses. Chris is Full House. Savannah's Full House. I'm Full House. I think that's it. Or did you are Full House, Brady?
I said Full House only because I haven't seen The Good Place yet. So
yeah,
and I'm getting all these references, evidently
I was
forks
gonna say,
and shirts. I'm fascinated.
I feel left out. I feel like the kid that didn't get picked for the kickball team.
I'll tell you what I feel like. I feel like the exchange student that doesn't get the references. I think our group is usually pretty up on cool shows and everything. How did I miss this?
I have no idea. I live with someone who's using these references. I've never heard her say these in my life. Elliot says you're not allowed to cuss in The Good Place. Well, I would be out then. I would not be allowed in there.
Yes. So what the fork and holy shirt.
Holy shirt.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So I think The Good Place.
I think it did. I think it won.
Elliot, Samantha, Celia.
The historian?
Did he pick it too?
He picked it too. I think.
Well, we might have a tie then.
Let me scroll back up.
So Chris, Elliot, Celia, Samantha. That's 4.
Yeah.
You, me, Chris, and Savannah are 4 for Full House. So we need a tiebreaker.
Well, I'm good. See what you think about this, Todd. You know, this is a tie and everything, but listen to the passion that these Good Place people, like somebody said, Good Place by a mile. So who quote? Let me scroll back up. What?
Chris says I voted Good Place, which has no room for Brady's potty mouth.
Easy, man.
I know what you're
see.
saying, Brady, and I'm feeling what you're putting down. I say we go Good Place just because there are Blake Bortles. do they just randomly yell out terrible quarterbacks? Are we going Good Place? Are we ready to make that decision?
We are.
Part of me thinks if I were to watch Good Place, I would like it better than Full House.
Yeah, I think probably when I get off here and I walk my dogs and put my children to bed, I might have to look up which streaming service I'm going to have to catch an episode before bedtime.
Yes, but I do have a crush on the adult Candace Cameron. If that helps with the Full House.
But
all right,
I kind of got a crush on Kristen Bell, so
yeah, that's true. And I think Say has a crush on Ted Danson.
she likes that Theodore Danson.
Chris.
What did Chris say? Oh, that one. Yeah, gotcha. Never mind.
Chris. This fly, it has to go.
We can't be burdened by what has been, Chris.
Yes. And all that jazz. Here we go, guys. This is going to be a tough one. Oh, Mark Robinson, the voice of Sweet Sister Mercy, a fantastic Cincinnati-based 80s hair metal band. Good to see you, Mark. By the way, guys, you should check out Sweet Sister Mercy. Give him a follow. Mark has a fantastic voice.
Absolutely.
Great guy. He just voted the tiebreaker. So what do we do, Brady?
Can we put an asterisk on this one and revisit?
So tough. I mean, technically, Full House won.
They did. They did. What? Well, Elliot, you were in Sweet Sister Mercy? Oh, wow. This would be or is he?
We're going to go into the next matchup.
Yeah.
Guys, this is the toughest so far in this bracket. Cosby Show versus Three's Company.
This one, talk about two cancelable shows for totally different reasons. Oh man.
See, and I just had a conversation about this. We've had it several times. We actually just had it this morning. Go figure. Cosby Show, obviously Bill Cosby ended up being Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
But I look at it like this. From a professional, like from a standpoint, everybody else in that show deserves the credit.
Kudos too. Right.
It was a great show. We showed our kids the show, even when all the stuff was coming out about, because it was a great show. And I think it's important to not let the show go down with the Cosby, real life Cosby.
Yeah. We don't want it to melt like a discarded pudding pop.
Exactly.
I am a huge Three's Company fan. I was as a kid. It made me laugh. I even have a Regal Beagle t-shirt. So this one, I did love me some Three's Company, and I did love the Cosby Show, but I will say this. Three's Company provided me more nyucks than the Cosby Show.
I would agree with that. Three's Company to me was consistently more funny. The Cosby Show is a little more spotty, like as far as like there would be some funny here, but then some not so. The Cosby Show is a little far-fetched to me, only because like that. Do you know what I mean? Like there was no like everything was a little too perfect.
Right.
If that makes sense. But it was a great show. I mean,
it was, and I'm not knocking the show,
And Bill, he was so funny. Think about the episode where they have I think Rudy is having like a birthday party or something, and the kids are over, and Bill Cosby's giving them all like the horse rides on his knee, like the little kids, and like the little chunky kid. He's like on his knee, and he's trying. You can see him like struggling to give him the horse ride. Like that's
was
funny.
that kid's name Pete?
I think because Bud was Rudy's friend. Bud was Rudy's friend, but the little chunky white boy,
the husky fellow.
I think he might have been Pete. But anyway, that was funny. Things were not perfect on the Cosby Show. How could you forget the Gordon? Yes, I say what I mean is, yes, Vanessa got drunk with her friends, but to me, in my world, Vanessa getting drunk with her friends would have been a grounding, a punishment of some sort, not a, hey, we're going to come here and play this trick on her where we make her think she's drinking and that type of thing. I mean, like, to me, that's what I meant by a little too perfect.
Yeah.
By the way, Mark and Elliot, Elliot now has a different, it was E-Swope, and now it's Elliot Swope.
Yeah.
But apparently Mark and Elliot played music. I didn't know Elliot was a musician. I don't know Elliot, but Elliot, very cool.
It looks like E-Swope is on YouTube, and now he has switched to Facebook.
Gotcha. So apparently Elliot was in Sweet Sister Mercy. What instrument do you play, Elliot?
I had Mr. Swope's son last year in my class, and he's on the soccer team with my son this year. So we chat at practice, and like I said, I hounded him into giving us a listen.
Yeah, E-Swope's still there. Whoa, we have 2 Swopes.
Oh,
I don't think we do actually, but certainly not 2. All right, we've gone off the rails here, Brady.
We've gone off the rails of a crazy train.
Yeah, let's dial it back in. So the matchup is Three's Company versus the Cosby Show.
I say Three's Company.
Okay, I say Cosby.
Okay.
Chris says Three's. Brady, I'll count Three's. Well, you count Three's Company. I'll count Cosby.
Okay. Here we go.
I'm at 4 with Cosby. Chris, you said Bill Cosby versus Mr. Roper. Barney Fife. Which one are you voting for? Right now, I'm at 4 Cosbys, Brady.
There are 5 Three's Companies.
Ooh. So are we ready to put in?
I think we're ready to call it. There's been some big upsets.
Yeah.
This might be considered an upset.
Yeah. Well, the Cosby Show is a 5 seed, and Three's Company is a 12 seed.
Oh, wow.
Definitely. But I put it in. Once I wrote it in, it's in.
Okay.
Elliot's a drummer. Very cool. Number 4 seed Frasier versus number 13 seed Murphy's Brown.
Oh, Frasier by a mile. Frasier by a mile. And Frasier wasn't my favorite, but Murphy's Brown just bored me. It was, I didn't like it when it was on.
Chris voted Three's Company, so that further solidifies the Three's Company victory. Frasier for me too. Murphy's Brown was not something I was into.
No.
What was the lady's name? The main lady?
Candice Bergen.
Candice Bergen. Yeah.
Is that
Frasier's
right?
running away with it.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I'm not even going to waste any more time. Frasier it is. Frasier was a good show. I agree, Chris. I didn't think Murphy Brown was that funny. Moving on, gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen. The 6 seed Brady Bunch versus 11 seed Big Bang Theory. Brady Bunch versus Big Bang Theory.
This is one of those era straddling, things. I liked Big Bang Theory. Don't get me wrong, and it did spin off, Sheldon, young Sheldon. I get it. But man, the Brady Bunch is iconic. John is in the house. John Esper, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, John.
He's entered the fray. The Brady Bunch was not only a hit in prime time, it lived on for decades in syndication. It
Yeah.
spawned 2 or 3 movies.
Yeah.
So the Millers are the Browns are going with 2 Big Bangs, but it looks like we've got oh, wait a minute. Samantha did go Big Bang Theory. She did.
Samantha went Big Bang. Elliot went Brady. John went Brady. Chris goes Brady. Yes, the
Yeah.
Kings Island episode was classic.
Yes.
I'm going Brady Bunch.
Yeah. I've got to do that. Got to do that.
Mark, yeah, you're right, Mark.
Yeah.
I mean, I will obviously if this were a bracket of funniest, then Big Bang Theory would run away with that because it's definitely funnier than the Brady Bunch.
The episode that always sticks in my mind, besides the Kings Island and the Hawaii women, I loved it when Greg went hippie and started dressing like a hippie and put beads up in his room and started calling his mom and dad Mike and Carol, and the Groovy Greg episode. And I don't know why that cracks me up.
Yeah. Is it safe to put Brady Bunch down?
Oh, very safe.
Okay.
Just like the AstroTurf in the yard.
Number 3 seed, The Wonder Years.
Ooh.
Versus 14, Will and Grace.
Wonder Years. Nothing wrong.
Wonder Years.
Yeah, that was
Wonder
such a
Years.
solid show.
It was so solid.
Chris. Sorry. The historian is are we allowed to say that?
I'll read it. So Chris's comment, for those of you listening along, he says, "I love how Sam the Butcher brought Alice the meat," and that is pushing up again our TV 14 rating.
But it's so literally true.
It is literally true. It is literally true. Yes, and figuratively true, I'm sure. Wonder Years. Wow, Wonder Years is
Wonder Years. Wonder Years is just great.
It was great. It was. The brother was annoying. The older brother.
Oh yeah, Jason Hervey.
Who didn't have a crush on Winnie Cooper?
Oh yeah.
Who in real life is like a
mathematician.
A math whiz. Yeah. See, John had a crush. Everybody had a crush on Winnie Cooper. Mark Robinson says Will and Grace. No shame in that, Mark.
No shame in it, man.
Yeah. If you ever, Mark, you ever listen to the podcast? Celia.
Yeah.
It's Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and what is it? Anyway, there's a podcast, Smartless. It's got Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and I can never think of the guy's name in Will and Grace. Sean something or other.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's one of the best podcasts out there. And there's actually a document, I think it's on HBO. There's a documentary where they took their podcast on the road and toured with it during COVID. It's very, very good. Very funny.
We need to do that.
So Mark, if you are a fan of Will and Grace and you like Sean, whatever his last name is, Sean Hayes. Thank you. Yes. So Mark, if you haven't checked out the Smartless podcast, you will really like it. I'm a big Jason Bateman fan.
Yeah.
They're very funny.
And Chris, yes, we remember when everybody said that Marilyn Manson was actually the guy that played Kevin Arnold's friend in Wonder Years. And as he became an adult, he became Marilyn Manson, which really had some life to it, even though the guy who played the part on the show said, "It's not me," over and over.
Yeah. So Samantha says he was a college roommate to my high school music teacher. Are you meaning Sean Hayes, Samantha? I'm assuming that's who Samantha's talking about. But anyway, give them a plug, Smartless. They would probably never give us a plug. You guys should all go to the Smartless people and tell them they should give our podcast a plug, since we plugged their podcast. Chris says never watched either, but Molly Shannon was hot. Molly Shannon, that's Will and Grace, right? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I think that the Wonder Years won. Looking through here, I think Mark was the only one that voted for Will and Grace. No shame, Mark. No shame.
No shame, man.
All right, King of the Hill, 7 seed versus. We talked about the Cosby Show earlier, a Cosby Show spinoff, A Different World.
King of the Hill came up in the teachers' my team was eating, and we made a reference to King of the Hill, and my coworker said that it's coming back. There's going to be a King of the Hill reboot, possibly.
Really?
Yeah. Different World didn't move me that much. I think I watched it because it was on. King of the Hill is not one of my favorites, but it makes me laugh. But I think King of the Hill makes me laugh more, and I enjoy it more than if I had one TV that had A Different World on it and one TV that had King of the Hill on it. I'm going with King of the Hill.
Yeah, King of the Hill is definitely funnier. I was a fan of A Different World, mainly because I had a crush on Lisa Bonet. And then the other girl, I can't think of what her name was.
I remember her name, Jasmine. I know
the
her.
The one who was kind of uppity and
yeah, she was Whitley on the TV show.
Yes. No, not Whitley. Whitley was like the curly haired girl who was kind of.
No, that was Cree.
Wore the overalls.
Yeah, I think her real name in real life might be Cree.
Well, so the girl I'm talking about was the one that was kind of stuck up. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I gotta look it up.
I'm gonna look up the cast and characters. Okay. Oh, Jasmine Guy, Whitley.
Was Whitley, yeah.
Yeah. And
what about a young Marissa Tomei? She was on there. I didn't realize that. Yeah, I forgot about her being on there.
Cree Sumner was Winifred or Freddie. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you had Sinbad on there. You had Kadeem Hardison.
Wasn't his name Dwayne Wade?
Dwayne Wade, yeah.
Before there was a Dwayne Wade?
Or no, was it Dwayne Wayne?
That's what it was. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah. Hey, Michael. I think King of the Hill is running away with this.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our last matchup. Brady, this one's going to tug at you a little bit.
It's going to tear at me?
It's going to tear at you and tug at you and scratch at you. It's going to scratch your eyes out.
Just like our friend said in anger.
Number 15 seed. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Against?
Number 2 seed. The Golden Girls.
Oh.
I told you. It's like plucking your chest hairs out one at a time with rusty pliers.
Yes. Or stubbing your toe repeatedly on a coffee table while juggling pudding. As much as I love Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and I love it, the Golden Girls is the golden standard. I mean, come on. There's not a single man out there that hasn't secretly wanted to dance and romance B. Arthur. I'm kidding. So no, but Golden Girls is just hysterically funny, and I love Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I love it, but the Golden Girls, uh, Always Sunny just doesn't have the cachet yet that the Golden Girls has.
Yeah, Samantha, my birthday is ruined.
Oh,
Why is
Samantha,
that, Samantha?
I love Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I could trade quotes with you all day. It's my actually I had a Dayman shirt, a Dayman for president from years ago. But the Golden Girls is just the Golden Girls. It's a cultural icon.
It is. The great thing about the Golden Girl, it never seems to go away, which is a good thing. Every couple of years there'll be a new batch of you'll see right now. I constantly see T-shirts with Golden Girls with other used in other. I don't know how to explain it. Well, for instance, I have a shirt that says Queens. It's like a play on Queen, the band Queen. You see them used in pop culture a lot, even today.
Mhm.
And to me, that's a sign of a great show. Plus, we've talked about this. Golden Girls couldn't be made now, probably. Well, I shouldn't say that because there's a lot of risque TV.
Yeah. Actually, I would say the Golden Girls would be almost flamingly filthy. If the gloves were off, if the Golden Girls, those characters, if they took some of the gloves off of
Yeah.
what they could say and do, if it was a Netflix show.
Yeah, that's true. It kind of paved the way for some of the more risque, some of the randier, if I can make a word.
And they got away with it because they were elderly and therefore less threatening.
And the thing is, they weren't elderly. That's the funny thing. I mean, they weren't. If you look up the ages of them, Brady, they probably weren't much older than you.
Lord have. Chris and I, the historian, and I were laughing a couple weeks ago about how Paul Rudd right now is the same age as Wilford Brimley was when he filmed Cocoon.
Yeah. That's ridiculous. Of course, Paul Rudd never ages.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Wilford Brimley's, just looked old forever.
Yeah.
But he never looked older. He just.
Well, I'm going to look this up. And we've talked about this on the show. But I'm going to look up this age of the Golden Girls type thing. So how old were the Golden Girls supposed to be?
Yeah.
Let me find it here. Quickly.
Crystal, I'm glad I know that piece of information that if I need to give her some extra motivation, I'll throw in a couple Golden Girls quotes in class.
Okay, so obviously everybody knows the oldest Golden Girl was actually in the show is the youngest, I believe, Golden Girl, right?
Yes.
So can't find a good website here to look this up on the. So Rue McClanahan, Brady was 51 when the Golden Girls premiered.
When it premiered? So
Yes.
she was 2 years younger than I am now when she was playing a Golden Girl.
Yes.
That's sick.
She was 58 when it concluded.
Dang.
Moving on to Betty White.
Mm-hmm.
Betty White was 63 when the Golden Girls premiered in 1985. B. Arthur was 63 when the Golden Girls premiered.
That's about what I would have pegged.
Don't mention pegging and B. Arthur, Brady. That's creepy.
Oh.
I was wrong. So Sophia Estelle Getty was 62 when the sitcom premiered. So she wasn't the youngest, but she was younger than B. Arthur.
Yeah.
who was her daughter, obviously, and she was younger
Yeah.
than Betty White. And then,
I,
is there one more, or did I get them all? Yeah, I got them all.
I read an interesting factoid about that the other cast members would get aggravated at her because her strong suit was not line memorization. So many scenes, that's why she's carrying her purse and looking through it because the lines are in the purse.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Yeah, Chris, isn't that hard to believe? I mean, Chris is a very young-looking guy. For those of you who don't know Chris, and it's very hard for me to believe also that Chris is the same age now as Rue McClanahan was. It was Rue, right? It was 51.
yeah. Yes.
So she was a good bit younger. She was 12 years younger than the rest of them.
You know what I always found weird about that show? And it struck me as a kid, the way that they would say Dorothy.
Dorothy.
And I think it was just the dialect accent, Dorothy. And like they had it with an A instead of an O, and that always confused me as a Ute.
Yeah. But folks, that concludes the A and B regions of the first round of the bracket. I told the guys earlier that this was a big bracket.
Yeah.
16 shows in each. I don't think there's been any major upsets so far. The biggest upset seeding wise was the
very first one.
Well, South Park was the 14 seed that beat the 3 seed Parks and Rec.
And what beat Friends that at the very beginning?
Modern Family beat Friends.
Yeah.
Now I will say this: we didn't have as many people chiming in and voting then, but for those of you that came in kind of late, I'll do a quick recap, and then we'll probably need to call tonight because I don't know, I can't see on mine, Brady, how long we've been going, but
we have been on an hour and a half.
So for those of you that chimed in late, that logged on late, Modern Family beat out Friends. That 70s show beat Curb Your Enthusiasm. Sanford and Son beats Taxi. Welcome Back, Kotter beat Mary Tyler Moore. Happy Days beat Community. South Park beat Parks and Rec. Martin beat the Bob Newhart Show, and Andy Griffith beat Night Court. Now, to me, that's kind of an upset, but not based on the seeds. And then the B region, the second region, Seinfeld beat Alf. Full House beat The Good Place. I know to some of your dismay. Three's Company beat Cosby Show. Frasier beat Murphy Brown. Brady Bunch beat Big Bang Theory. Wonder Years beat Will and Grace. King of the Hill beat A Different World, and Golden Girls beat It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So before we sign off, we have an announcement to make. We just want to make sure you guys saw Eric was on here earlier and he had to leave. We're going to kind of take it upon ourselves to say why. Brady, do you want to take it from here?
Yeah. If we seem discombobulated, we're both kind of holding it together here pretty well. But so unfortunately, Eric's father passed away while we started right there at the beginning, and of course, he was kind of a dad to us too. So we're just gonna ask, keep Eric and his family in your prayers. Messages and everything's cool, but he'll, be, some privacy and family grieving here, and we're really, just our thoughts and prayers to our, brother and friend Eric, and his dad was a really good guy we love very much, and so that's why if we seemed a little bit, wasn't sure exactly what to do, but we thought, we owe it to let you guys and our listeners know that, that's what's going on. And so we'll just kind of leave it at that.
Yeah.
And
actually, Pete, anybody who knows Pete has good memories of Pete, and Sardinia Staple. If you were ever in the Sardinia area, and you met Pete, you'll remember Pete as a very good guy, and we all have great memories of Pete. and supporting whatever it was around town, sports teams, everything around town. And actually, Pete was a fan of the show. He listened to the show. I mean, I know there were some health issues here recently, but I know at one time Pete would chime in every once in a while and listen to the show. So again, Eric and your family, you guys will be in our prayers. And so we wanted to continue the show tonight because we thought that's what Eric would want us to do. So thank you guys for sticking with us. And again, please keep Eric and his family in your prayers. So, and Pete, rest in peace, man.
We love you, man. And so we want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we'll just keep you posted. Like I said, for the foreseeable future, Wednesday at 7:00 is going to be our thing. That's going to be our time and day. So with that, thank you to all of our Play It By Ear family for tuning in, and we hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. And Todd, I'm going to have to pick up the line. Todd, take us out.
Well, I wanted to say real quick, we will end it with a little bit of humor. Brady, I don't think either one of us know how to end this.
I was just thinking that I know Eric has sent it to us the past, so from an engineering standpoint, I'm going to have to figure out how to get in here and shut it down.
Yeah.
So
what we want to ask you guys to do is go ahead and close things on your end, because you may hear us for the next 25 minutes trying to figure out how to shut this thing down. And so it might not be.
And you can't see behind the curtain without a pay site. So yeah. I'm kidding.
It might not be TV 14 with us trying to figure this out. So anyway, Brady, peace. Shut it down, Brady. Do you know how?
I shall.
It's just me.